Hi, I'm Owen Fitzpatrick, author of the book The Charismatic Edge and creator of the online Charisma Training Academy. And welcome to another video. Again, this is online, accessible for anyone, free, just because I'm that kind of person. I give stuff for free. Don't even care about myself. I could be starving, dying of hunger, and I'd still give free stuff. So here's another free video for you. This one in particular, though, is something that I think will be of massive use. Because over the course of the last few months, one of the things I spent a little bit of time doing is I was doing quite a lot of media, and I was listening to a lot of radio programs in particular. And one of the things I noticed, and I don't think this is just an Irish thing, but I do think it happens in Ireland as well as other countries, is that there's a massive amount of whiners whining everywhere. And they whine about everything and anything. And I mean, we all whine to a degree sometimes, you know, but really there's so many people, and there's even programs and TV programs and radio programs that are just designated whining times. You know, there's particular programs during the afternoon that you listen into, and all it is one person after another complaining about stuff. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to give you an opportunity to learn about it's unbelievable, big trucks driving past when I'm trying to do a video. Do you understand? What annoying, horrible experience for me to be having. Here I am trying to do a video and all you hear, I mean, these people just don't care about anyone else but themselves. And oh, here we go again. Do you want to come back? Yeah, that's it. Could you make it a little bit louder? Oh, brilliant, well done, thanks very much. He didn't even have to go down there. He's just doing circles just to annoy me, just to piss me off, because that's the kind of thing they do. Anyway, I was telling you about whining, and one of the things I found is that there's a lot of people whining, but I just don't think that they do themselves justice. I think there's a lot more effective ways of whining in such a way that it's really able to get out of your system and is really able to hit home. I think people can learn a lot from learning to be more effective at whining. So this video is all about how to become a much more effective whiner. So what are the things you can do to whine in a way that really packs a punch? The first thing you need to do is to master the whiny voice. You know, sometimes I hear people whine, I don't even know they're whining, because they're using a deadpan serious voice. It's like it's a monotone whine. It's like, you know, I'm really disappointed with that, or that's disgraceful service next door. Are you whining? Are you making a statement? Are you asking a question? Are you giving an order? I don't know what you're doing because you're not using the voice. What's really important when you whine is that you need to make sure you use the whiny voice. Whiny voice is mainly a high-pitched voice. So it goes a little bit like, why, and usually you can say the word why, which is kind of the onomatopoeic connection to the word whine. So it's like, why is it always like this? It's always the same way. I just don't understand it. They're always the same. The government, the politicians, the bankers, the financial services, the Europeans, the Americans, the Middle Easterns, the Easter, and so forth. You can just complain about anyone, really. The Catholic Church, the Protestant Church, the Buddhists, I'm going to go in religious or whatever. Very few people complain about the Buddhists, and even if they do, the Buddhists accept. Do you get it? Because they accept. That's, by the way, none of this is in any way religiously or politically statematic. Statematic is a word I made up. It means I'm not making any statements. I'm just talking generally. And there's no stereotypes being attacked here. Personally, I think all religions and non-religions are brilliant. All countries are great. You know, so just let's keep on that track. Anyway, mastering the whiny voice means a little bit more high pitch, a little bit more whininess in your voice. Like, that kind of thing. When you put that kind of thing in it, it's obvious, it's a whine. So everyone goes, what's he doing? He's whining. How do you know? Whiny voice. So make it so that it's not ambiguous, it's really clear that you're whining when you whine, okay? And that means being as up and down, that little horrible melody that you use when you're complaining about something, which makes it clear, yes, right now everyone, I'm whining. That's the first step. Does that make sense? I'm sure it does. Second of all, go the whole hog. A lot of people kind of sort of whine. They whine about something small. They say, oh, the soup was a little cold. Look, don't just stop at the soup. Complain about the entire meal, complain about the restaurant, complain about the city. It's much more fun. When you get it, if you want to really cathartic, really release the negative pent-up emotion that exists inside of you, you need to complain about everything. So it's not just the soup, it's like, this soup is horrible. In fact, this whole restaurant stinks of disgusting, horrible, ugh. I want to vomit with this horrible city, with all the people and all the food and all the disgusting smells and tastes here. I want to die of this disgusting, that's so horrible. When you do it like that, you see, you allow yourself to release all the emotions. You're not just going, oh, the soup wasn't nice, which is kind of like a effort to whine. Instead, you're just fully exploding with a huge, gigantic power whine. It's like a power whine. Go the full hog, power whine. You know what I'm talking about? Whine, ah! That kind of whine, which really, really allows you to get it all out there so that you don't feel nearly the same way. And I think it is something that really helps you to become much more effective at whining. Next, we've got spread the hate. I know a lot of people talk about, oh, spread the love, spread the love, spread the love. Oh, let's listen to another Beatles song. Oh, yeah, love, love, love. You know, a lot of people on my Facebook page go, oh, all you need is love. All you need is love, blah, 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 love, love. I'm so sick to death of hearing about love. Love is great, yeah, well done, but too many people talk about it. Not enough people are talking about hate. Why can't we just start to share the hate, start to spread the hate, start to let other people hate it as well? You see, the key is that most people just whine to the people that are closest, nearest and dearest. And that's good because you bring them down with you. And it's great to be able to make sure that everyone's in a miserable mood, not just you. It makes you feel better when you go home after a hard day's work. If everyone is just as miserable as you can feel on the same page. It's also why, in terms of Ireland and lots of other countries like Ireland, we're really great at the begrudging stuff, which is terrific. Because it means that whenever you see someone do well, you can knock them off that perch of theirs, say, who do you think you are? Bring them down to your level, and you can be miserable with them. Because if someone is doing better than you, why should you try to join them and be happy like them? Why not grab them by the ankles, pull them down, and start to remind them that they're just not any good, that they're just the same as you, they just don't come from anywhere better than you. Just make them feel as miserable as you because you're no longer lonely that way. It's a really, really effective strategy. And I'm quite proud of our ability to begrudge when other people are doing successful in our country. I think it's a great, great quality, and I hope we never, ever lose it. I do also think, though, spreading the hate also means making sure that you don't just bring down people you know. Bring down people you don't know. You should start to spread the whining to people in lots of random situations. When you're on the bus, sit down beside a person on the bus, start complaining about something. Make sure that you get a frown by the time you leave that bus. If you can get a frown by the time you leave that bus, you've succeeded, and you've effortlessly succeeded at something wonderful. The more you spread the hate, the more likely you are to be able to go home and know that you've brought a number of people down to your level, which is really what whining is all about after all. So again, it's not just about whining to the people you know, it's about whining to all those people that don't know just how miserable things really are. Next is ignore the positive tribe. You know, there's a lot of people out there, they're like positive thinkers and they're optimists and they're telling you how great things are, and they'll say, oh, if you think in a more positive way, you'll be more successful and you'll make more money and you'll be happier and you'll have more fun. And that may well be true. But why do you want to have fun with a bunch of happy people? You know, the truth of the matter is that life is hard. And the more you complain about how hard life is, rather than figuring out solutions, rather than focusing on what you can do, the more you're able to accept the fact that life is difficult and feel successfully bad about it. And hopefully drag a few more people in to feel bad about it as well. You know, when you start complaining to other people, they'll react to you, and a lot of times they'll complain as well. They'll agree with you, and then you start to build up all this negative energy. By the time you finish, the both of you are furious. It's a wonderful experience to go through because you're connecting and bonding over sad, depressing, horrendous feelings. But in some ways, it's more real. Whereas the people who are optimistic and positive and sharing positive things and complimenting each other and being nice to each other and being happy and being successful and getting better results and allowing themselves to have a lot more fun in life and waking up in the morning actually looking forward to the day, they're the ones I feel sorry for, you know, because they're doing the positive thing and they're like, ooh, life is good and I can see through things, and you know, and then you got the people who are optimistic, who are accepting the challenges of life, but they're focusing on solutions, wasting all that time in solutions. Why waste so much time thinking about solutions when you can absorb yourself with how horrible the problems are? You know, spend time dwelling upon the fact that it's a horrible problem rather than spending and wasting all this copious amounts of time thinking through, how am I going to solve the problem? Shut up about solving the problem. If you solve the problem, you won't have the problem to complain about anymore. Therefore, you'll have nothing to do. Focus on the problem, not the solution. It's one of the biggest mistakes people make. And when you don't make it anymore, you get to whine, complain. It means that you're ignoring the positive tribe of all this good stuff, and you're able to feel really, really good about the fact that everything is really, really bad. The next step is always find the angle. Now, what this means is that there's going to be a lot of challenges to your ability to whine. There's going to be certain times where people see the positive side. Again, the positive tribe comes on board and they try to point you to the good things. There's going to be good things that happen in your life. You know, for example, many times, in Ireland, for example, there's obviously a lot of people get down about the weather. So there's the gloomy weather, and people are great at whining about the weather. It's like, oh God, the Irish weather, it's so unpredictable, it's so horrible, blah, 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 the Irish weather, which is great, okay? And that's great to be able to do that. It's great that we have the weather to complain about. Other countries don't. Other countries have lovely weather. They don't get to complain nearly as much, so we do have the weather to complain about. So what's really important is that when the weather takes a turn for the better, you're able to find the angle to keep the complaining going. So for example, recently we've had a heat wave in Ireland, so everyone tends to get quite positive. Even people who I would respect as great whiners, they tend to get a little bit too positive, a little bit too, oh, I'm in great form now, and that's kind of not very consistent. It kind of it's a bit disingenuous, if you ask me. So what's really important is that you find the angle, even when there's weather is good, on how to feel bad about that. For example, when the weather is bad, you get to complain, whine. Now when the weather is good, beautiful, hay fever. Hay fever is so cool. It is the greatest thing you could possibly imagine, because hay fever is how you attack even the good. I got terrible hay fever, and it's great because I get to complain about it. Obviously, it's difficult to complain about it because I'm sneezing so much, but I get to say, oh God, I hate the sun weather. Because now you not only hate the cold weather and the gloomy weather, you hate the bright weather and you hate the sunny and hot weather. And when you do it in that way, you get to hate all types of weather. You see, you got to find the angle of what there is to hate. Ask yourself questions like, how could I hate that? Or how is that a problem for me? Or why do I need to be more negative about that? When you ask yourself questions like that, it makes it easier to whine, easier to complain, easier to feel bad. And that's what this is all about. So many people are really, really great in the whining, and then something good happens and they're actually nice about it and positive about it. Stop. If you win the lottery, it just means you have more money to buy more problems. There's always a problem with every solution. There's always a problem with everything that happens. Every good thing has a problem attached. You just got to look hard enough for that problem and you will find it. And that's what a lot of people do really, really well. They take the bad things and they see the bad things and the bad things. They see the good things and they see the bad things and the good things. These are what I call professional whiners. Skilled, mastered, artistic whiners who are able to really be creative with their whining abilities. You practice seeing the negativity everywhere and you'll be really skilled at it. So please do. Make sure you find the angle. You know, it's like the hay fever is the negative side of the sun, and also it's too hot, like complain about it being too hot. And then when it's a little bit too cold, it's too cold, and you're never satisfied. That's the art form of effective whining. Make sure you practice that. Next and lastly, practice the but it gets worse technique. This is my favorite technique. You know, the positive thinking establishment and, people into NLP and coaching, they do this great thing where they use the term but, and they say, okay, here's what you need to do. Whenever you say something negative, you then follow a but, and then you say something positive, right? So in that way, they're teaching you how to change the way you think so that you no longer think negatively. It helps you to condition yourself to start thinking more positively. But if you want to be a more effective whiner, that's the worst thing you can do. You don't use it like that. But I've got a little trick up my sleeve. You see, there's a technique that you can use where you still use but you use it in the following way. Now, this is really great. What you do is, and you do this around positive thinkers, it makes it even better. It's great fun. What you do is you complain about something, and then you say the word but. And then you see, especially in the positive thinkers, you see the glint of this little happiness in their eyes, this little sense of delight and anticipation of what you're about to say. So you go, blah, 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 everything is going wrong in this country, but, and then they're all happy. And then you go, it gets even worse. The next few years are supposed to be even worse than this one. So after the word but, you cancel the negativity with even worse negativity. So you set them up, and then you set them up for the fall. Nice one. Boom, down boy. That's the way to go. it is one of the coolest things you could ever possibly do, because it allows you to go from miserable to even more miserable very, very effectively through the same tactic that they try to get you to be more positive and change your mind. So many people spend time trying to get you to think more positively. Stop. Embrace the negative horribleness that exists. Start to really appreciate whining and complaining about it. Gather up all the different people that are negative and make sure that you can help them be even more negative. These are the keys to being a more effective whiner. And so in summary, let me suggest, if you want to be a more effective whiner, which I highly recommend, what I suggest you do is the following. First of all, make sure that you master the whiny voice. Make sure it's clear that you're whining. Don't be, a little bit boring with your tone of voice. Use that really aggravating, annoying, high-pitched drill-sounding voice to make sure that you not only potentially burst eardrums, but you annoy people with your tone as well as what you say. The more you can use the high-pitched, annoying tone, the more likely people are to also feel bad as a result of your voice. They might even whine about your voice, which adds extra sort of exponential negativity to the situation. But also it makes it very clear that you are in fact whining. Second of all, go the whole hog. Don't just complain about one thing. People are so compartmentalized in the way they complain. They complain about one small thing. Exaggerate it, throw it out there. Start complaining about everything. Whine about the world. Whine about, take one thing and generalize it, blow it way out of proportion and spend copious amounts of time on it. And then whenever someone tries to change the subject, start and change it back to what you're whining about. The more you go the full hog, overdo it in every way possible, the more likely you are to really be effective at the whole whining thing. Next, spread the hate. Don't just do it with regards to your family and loved ones. Don't just bring them down. And do bring them down, of course, but don't just bring them down. Bring strangers down. Meet people randomly and start complaining about things on a regular basis. Whine about everything. Ring up every radio show and start miserably complaining about things that you don't even have a problem with. The more you spread that hate, the more you start to get other people angry and other people annoyed and other people pissed off, the less likely they are to actually connect with something good. And the less likely they are to actually solve the problem. Far too many people spend time thinking about positive things. You need to make sure that you spread the hate as much as possible so you get everyone else, people you know and love and people you don't, as miserable as you are. Bring them down. Use the art of begrudging, effective, wonderful begrudging, which allows you to drag people down and make sure that they know where they came from. Next, ignore the positive tribe. Make sure you do not allow these positive, optimist, successful people to in any way invade your mindset. You need to make sure you ignore those people. Let them focus on the solution. Let them focus on what they can do. Let them focus on solving problems. You just focus on the problem itself and bask in the inability you have to solve it. Bask in the fact that you're hopeless and helpless and it's pointless. Bask in the difficulty of the situation and make sure you talk about how awful it is, repetitively especially. The best whiners are the best repeaters. Best whiners repeat how messed up the situation is countless times. They complain about it every time they see you. They make sure they bring up. It's like you become the trigger or the cue for them to complain about it. It's a really, really effective way. So make sure you complain about the problems and you ignore the positive tribe. And make sure when you do this, you also find the angle so that whenever something positive does happen, you're always looking for the angle of negativity. You're always thinking to yourself, what could go wrong about that or what's bad about that? When you ask those questions, you're always finding the little spin that allows you to see the bad things and how something that looks quite good could actually turn out to be the worst possible thing ever. A lot of people see bad events and they see how it's the best thing that could possibly happen and they see it as a more useful thing. If you want to be successful and happy and have all these great things to happen to you, right, do that. But if you want to be a more effective whiner, and this is what this is all about, you need to start to take the negatives and see them as negatives and see the positives and see them as negatives as well. By finding the angle, you get to feel just as miserable as you'd like to. Then we've got, lastly, practice the but it gets worse technique. Again, one of my favorites. You say something negative, then you say, but they think you're being positive, and then you say something even more negative. Sets them up, smacks them down for a fall. It means that you can start to increase your ability to be miserable and miserableize yourself so that you can start to ensure that you keep going downwards more and more and more. You know, for me, whining is an important art form. It's an important skill. It's something that we practice on a regular basis. We love to do it. We get enjoyment out of it. So why not master it? Why not become a professional whiner? Why not make sure that you are better than everyone else at complaining about things? The key is never ever point to any solution. Never ever look to anything. And if anyone else points to the solution, find the flaw in it. Attack it down. People are really good at this, but you need to practice it to get good. So anytime anyone suggests anything positive, destroy it. And destroy it with enough vengeance and venom that allows you to ensure that you can stay as miserable and you can take everyone down with you as well. Look, I really hope this has been of value to you and for you. To me, I know there's a lot of people out there whining, a lot of people wondering how can I be better at whining. And I wanted to share with you some of the insights I've gained into how you can be a much more productive whiner, or more, I suppose, unproductive whiner, which is the point of whining, and do it in a very non-pragmatic way so that you can stay miserable and try to make more people around you miserable, stay poor and have all of those problems. But again, remember, you're in a win-win situation. Because the more you complain and whine rather than finding solutions, the more problems you will have. And the more problems you will have, the more likely you are to be able to find it easy to whine even more. It's win-win. It's a cycle. You just got to get on the cycle. I really hope this has been of value to you. Please make sure you practice these skills if you want to be a more effective whiner and if you want to be more miserable. I hope that, again, when you do, you'll find yourself whining even about this video. Probably that's what you're going to do. You're going to go, oh, that was such a stupid video. But make sure when you do whine about it, you go the full hog going, he's an idiot. Fitzpatrick is a disgrace. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Make sure you do it in the tone of voice. Fitzpatrick is a disgrace. He's so stupid. Make sure you follow this advice even when whining about this video. And you too can be a very miserable, begrudging, negative, whining loser. My name's Owen Fitzpatrick. Thanks for watching. Thanks for whining. Take care.